Good morning, everybody. It's your girl Miracle Sims, and you're listening to God, Sex, and Love. Your daily dose of inspirational juice. It is August the 31st, 2022, and today the topic is well seasoned. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. I hope that you all had a great day yesterday. Mine was just fun. Not too much to report in regards to things that I did. I do think I had a pretty important conversation yesterday, but all of that ain't your business, so I won't get too much into it. but yeah, outside of that, I mean, nothing too significant happened. Yeah, I mean, we ended up going to work yesterday, and then little guy and I had, home time, and yeah. I mean, hey y'all, there's a lot on my mind this morning, but I guess I'll start with, the subject at hand, which is the juice. Basically, I woke up this morning with the conversation that I had last night on my heart and minds. But and part of me was like, am I going to end up talking about that? Like, is that the topic for today, Lord? Oh God, because again, it's some of it's not necessarily shareable, I would say, but however, I think maybe they do coincide. This topic of well seasoned and the conversation I had last night. Long story short, yeah, I listened to the prayer meditation this morning, and it was telling me that I am the salt and everything like that, and that was a great reminder. Great reminder. There were some things that stood out to me, and so I ended up looking up Bible verses centered around that as well. I mean, y'all know, anybody that reads the Bible, most likely you know that anything referring to seasonings of some sort is usually salt, right? So that's what I looked up my Bible verses around this morning. Salt. I think I'm going to read some things that might be familiar to all of us, but yeah, I'll share what the Lord shared with me this morning in the prayer meditation, which, like I said, was a good reminder and coincides with everything. So here we go. Let's get into it, y'all. Matthew 5:13. It says, "You are the salt of the earth, but if salt has lost its taste, how shall its saltiness be restored? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled under people's feet." Yeah, I mean, when you just listening to that verse, you can, I mean, I can pretty much picture it all. It's like, okay, there's salt, and, usually we put salt in food, and, it's something that is, people, enjoy well-seasoned food, and yeah, if the salt doesn't have any flavor, then, it's pretty much dirt, I guess, that's what I'm receiving when I hear that verse. But then I guess the thing that stood out to me this morning in the prayer meditation is it was saying that, if we are believers without the flavor of God, then it's the same, and I think, yeah, that was one of the examples that really stood out to me this morning, because, at the end of the day, again, yeah, we all claim to be believers. We all claim to be Christians. We all claim to be, people that believe. But then it's like, where are your Christ-like attributes? That's what we have to ask ourselves. I have to ask myself too, where are my Christ-like attributes? If I do think about the conversation I was having last night, one of the things that stood out to me was that, the person was wondering, like, about, like, for example, how I do this every morning these days, basically how I've been doing this since 2020. And the thing is, I think I shared all the time, but, just to reiterate here, Miracle years ago probably been discouraged by now with this project. with this endeavor of GSL. Yeah, I do feel like there is a little bit of extra boost or something in me now that I didn't have years ago that inspires me and encourages me to keep going and doing things like this, for example. Um, Regardless of if I see the outcome or not. And I think because I was thinking about that, and as I also was thinking about that competition that I was telling y'all about last week, which I haven't recorded it, but anyway, some more things came to my heart and mind to write down about that, so I did. And so reflecting on both of those things, right, the conversation I had last night, as well as this faith hope conversation. I think it's like how the Bible says just now, at the end of the day, you know, all I can do is really share my testimony at the end of the day, and all I can do is share what God has done for me, right? With me, for me, and through me. And, you know, when I think about the competition, and I'm going to be sharing pretty much like how my faith was built, and whatnot, and where my hope comes from. But I'll just say it like this. Basically, there were significant moments in my life where I feel like God, there were crossroad moments where I ended up trusting God and being like, okay, I'm going to do this, in the hopes that, for example, what the pastor said was true. That, if I make God's wants my wants, I'm gonna get what I want. Um, and then eventually, I started to see that I needed to change some things. I started to see like, okay, I need to do this differently. I need to do that differently. If I say I'm going to believe, right? If I say I'm going to do this, I got to do some things differently. And then as I did that, you know, I saw a change in me. And then I started to look at my situation differently, and everything like that. I started to appreciate, and I think I've shared this before, but if not, if y'all don't know, it was from my single woman, it was my single life journey that pretty much got me to the place where I'm at with my faith. And I know that might sound weird to people. That was the desire of my heart. That was something that I prayed and was seeking God about, and that drew me nearer to God, trying to get understanding of why I was in the place that I was in. And so yeah, I know that testimony might be weird and strange, but ultimately, when you guys see this now with GSL and you guys see all the things that has come from that season of my life, that's all I can really say that is me. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, yeah, okay, I'm human, and I'm not the only one that has a Christ testimony. You know what I mean? Or some type of life-changing experience or whatever the case is. This just happens to be mine. And what all I did was step out on faith with the challenge of doing things God's way. And again, I wasn't perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm still not. And so, and everything like that. But I do feel like God honored my prayers. God honored, the faith moves that I did make. And ultimately, he gave me the desires of my heart. And I think that just ended up multiplying my faith times 10, because at the end of the day, I'm like, well, Lord, you gave me that. So, not to say what else you can give me, but like, I'm going to continue to dedicate, my life and do more of what you want me to do. And ultimately, yeah, that is what leads me to do this, right? That is what leads me to, I just say everything that I have going on right now, and that's all I can do is share that. And maybe that makes it sound too simple, and maybe that makes it sound like, oh, but that's what happened with me. That's all I can say. Like, I can't sit here and pretend like it was something else, like it was some other thing. This is what this is what made me closer to God, and this is what makes me have the hope and faith that to do the things that I'm doing. You know, and I'm thankful. I'm thankful and everything like that. So when I think about, again, this conversation of being well seasoned, right? The flavor, right, has come from the Lord. The flavor the salt that you may see in me, for example, comes from the hope and faith in Christ. And again, without that, I'm just regular old human, just like everybody else, without that, maybe I wouldn't have the faith and hope that I have now. Maybe I wouldn't have received the desires of my heart, and everything like that. I don't know. I don't know what my life would have been like if I didn't, seek God and make faith moves, and trust Him with that. And again, that was huge for me, to trust Him with my love life. Then after, He did what He did with my love life, I'm like, well, let me go on and trust you with my career too then. Let me go on and trust you with my finances too then. Let me go on and trust you with this, that, and the other too then. And this is the most free I've ever felt. And that's all I can really share at the end of the day. So yeah. Now that's the interesting thing as well, because it, pretty much leads me to this next verse that stood out this morning. And to my fellow believers, share your testimony, right? Share what the Lord has done for you. I think we should always be, like the Bible says, ready to make a defense and tell everybody where our hope comes from and everything like that. But at the end of the day, again, you still have to have the flavor, right, of Christ, right? We can't be out here just, pushing things down people's throats, and because He didn't do that, He gave us all free will to choose. What else did Christ do? He showed grace and mercy. People that deserved sin, they were living in sin, whatever the case was, and they deserved the, consequences of that. But He didn't, I don't think there was anything or any sin that He was condemning. Like, the only thing that I recall, Christ straight up, now He called stuff out. I'm not gonna say He didn't call stuff out. He did call things out, and then we do have the account of Him flipping the table at the church. But outside of that, like, He didn't say, "Oh, stay in your sin. Oh, you're doomed. Oh, you do what you're doing, so bye, leave my presence." You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see that in there. So, in my studies of the Bible, and I'm just a regular person studying, but I'm just saying I hadn't seen that yet, So with that being said, right, Colossians 4:6, it says, "Let your speech always be gracious, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how you ought to answer each person." So again, there's certain people I might share something bluntly with, but then there might be certain people where I might share something with a little bit more grace. There might be certain people that you need to be strong and bold and do apologetics type of debating with, but then there's some people that just need you to listen, and everything like that. So, hey, I think that wisdom and whatnot will come from, as you grow spiritually and everything like that. But I guess that's for us, already Christian folk, there's something that the Lord has to say about that. And that's what I received this morning reading Colossians 4:6. Now, Matthew 9:50, it says, "Salt is good, but if the salt has lost its saltiness, it will," who? It might be who. Y'all can check that out. But who will make it salty again? Then it says, "Have salt in yourselves and be at peace with one another." So again, I feel like I came across several verses that kind of reiterated this same sentiment. Like, if the salt doesn't have flavor, if the salt isn't salty, if the salt, I came across several verses like that. So y'all can go deeper and keep, read all of those on your own if you want. But yeah, at the end of the day, again, you don't want to be only fit for being, trampled on, you don't want to be, I want to say I came across a verse that was talking about just thrown into dung or something along those lines. I don't want my life, right? I personally want to be, like that. I don't want my salt to lose its flavor, and at the end of the day, again, we got to remember, and I think that's the humbling thing that what I was reminded of this morning, is to remember that God is the flavor. Christ is the flavor. If you're not representing that, then you're fit for these things that it's saying. And y'all, that's the juice. That is the juice this morning. The Bible verse of today is Matthew 6:6. It says, "But thou, when thou prayest, enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret. And thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly." Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspirational juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow with the Lord's will. Bye-bye. There you go, Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, anybody listening to the sound of my voice. I hope that you all are encouraged today to be well seasoned. Yeah, man, look, to God be the glory, man. I can't even, and that's what makes it kind of hard sometimes, because I think we expect, not say life to be hard. I mean, you're going to be, there's ups and downs, right? Life has ups and downs, and you're going to have that, especially, you come to faith and you come to Christ, and you be like, again, I think it's very important. I think I've been sharing this a lot, but if you're watching this at this point, I guess this is for you to know that, at the end of the day, it's not going to be peaches and cream. Like, everything in life isn't going to be perfect. But what I can say is that you can have peace in the middle of the storm by trusting God. And it might be that simple. It might be as simple as like changing your mindset about something. It might be that simple as, hey, let me do something different right now. It might be as different as, God is being like, hey, trust me. And, your answer should just be okay. And rest, maybe, that could be something as well. That can be an exercise of your faith, that, okay, Lord, I'm going to trust you and rest right now then, or, okay, Lord, I'm going to make the faith move and do something different. I guess only you know where you are in your life, you know what I'm saying, and what choice you need to make. And again, like I feel like I've shared on here multiple times. I still be trying to figure it out. I still be in a place where I'm like, well, should I be working right now, or do I need to be resting? What do you want me to do? But I think it's important to, ask God that, and then when you get the answer, do it. And see what he do. Like, I think there's just so much power in the word of God becoming real and practical. I know people are like, I know that might sound weird, it might sound like, oh, what do you mean? Like, how can we make it practical? But I feel like, this has been examples of how to do it, I've tried to share what I do, and it's real to me. Like, I don't know how else to say, I don't know how else to say it. Pretty much anything that I've challenged myself to do to get closer to God, it has helped in some aspect. Again, back in the day, I challenged myself to read the entire Bible, just to make sure I could do it. And not just to, obviously I knew I could do it because I, read books, but it's like, sometimes you got to challenge yourself to do things like that. Like, even me with the juice and everything like that. Yeah, I challenged myself to get up every morning, but now it's not even a thing where, every now and then I might be tired. It's like 4 a.m. or whatever the case is, but I enjoy this time. I enjoy this time to just be quiet, or just, reflect on God and receive something from him every day. Like, I guess I get joy in that. And then I get joy in sharing. Like, yeah, okay, And that's another thing too that I guess came into my heart and mind this morning. Like when it comes to this, I guess I'm just reminded of the verse that says, like, whatever you do, do to the glory and honor of God, X, Y, and Z. And so when it came to this daily dose of inspiration, right, this what kicked off everything. So when it came to this, yeah, I might have envisioned myself being on a radio show one day, like back in the day. Maybe that was like a goal, like, oh, maybe I'll be on a radio show one day, X, Y, and Z. So when I was thinking about this, I'm like, well, okay, if it's going to be a morning show, right, then I think about like times when I'm listening to morning shows, right? I was listening to like different radio shows and whatnot. Like maybe I had never, what would I be listening to? Maybe I'm like on the way to work or something like that. I would like listen to the radio every now and then, and they would go through their routines and stuff like that. And that if you're listening to them now, then they would have to be up earlier, and on all these different things. And so yeah, when I thought about this, and I was like, okay, I want it to be like a morning show. I want it to be like, okay, daily dose of inspiration, X, Y, and Z, and again, I think I've shared with you all, but again, just to say it again, if you haven't heard me say this, is that basically, at some point I had to say to myself that I got to take my ideas and my goals and my dreams and the things that I do just as seriously as I would take it as if, I was on some major radio station. If I was at some major radio station doing this show, then I would be on, I'll be up early. I would, be on time. I would, and everything like that. And so, I put out there that, hey, we're going to have this Monday through Saturday by 6 a.m., and so just like I would do some job, I had to take this just as seriously, same thing with the talk show and everything else. And so, yeah, and again, I feel like God is honoring that, so yeah, I mean, this is what I'm doing, y'all. This is it's practical to me. These are the practical steps that I am making to achieve different goals and dreams and whatnot. And some things are just out of God's hand. I mean, out of my hands, that I have to just trust God with and wait and all of that. But the things that I can do, I try to do, and that's it. That's it. But all right, well, I'm just rambling at this point. I'm sure I'll be going on and on and on. So I'll let you all go. I hope that this was encouraging and inspiring to you. And I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow if the Lord's will. Bye-bye.